Welcome to the Ghost Hacks Podcast. What you are about to hear may make you laugh. It may make you cry. It may make you shake in your boots. Two prison gods talking about strange things in the night they may never understand. And here are your hosts, Tom and Joe.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ghost Hacks Podcast, episode 14.
Yeah.
I'm Ghost Joe.
And I'm Tom.
And what's going on, everybody? I know you haven't heard from us in a couple weeks. Life gets in the way sometimes.
Life finds a way. Finds a way to fuck up our whole schedule.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. So I don't know. What can we fill in people about what's been going on, man? There's been a lot of things going on in the news, paranormal, UFO-wise as well. Maybe we could touch on some of that stuff. Today, it's going to be a little bit of our mixed bag thing. No interview this time. You know?
I think we should start numbering our mixed bags, like mixed bag number 2.
Yeah, right? Right, so it's just us. So
sorry.
If you hate us, then go fuck yourself. I mean, no. Listen anyway. So, yeah, man, I know we have a couple things to talk about, but I actually want to start off with a little rant that I have. A little rant. And I was actually going to put out a little challenge too, and I wanted to see if you were going to be in on this too with me, Tom. You let me know after I'm done with my rant. So, being that we're on this podcast, and even before that, I've always been on all these paranormal groups on Facebook and UFO groups and all that, trying to promote our stuff and also because it's fascinating, some of the stuff. So I came across a post that this girl, very attractive young lady, not that has any bearing on the thing. So yeah, so the super hot girl says that she had went to a fortune teller a couple years ago. Now, she called it a fortune teller. I don't know if it's somebody that's just a psychic or if it's this Madame Cleo looking lady. I have no idea, but she called it a fortune teller. So she saw this fortune teller a couple of years ago, and this fortune teller had the nerve to say, "You're going to die when you're 30 years old." So now, first off, I always assume that between psychics, whether real or fake, that's a no-no to do. You don't tell somebody that they're going to die. Even if you know that they're going to die, you don't say that because you don't know what these people's mental state is going to be. If I go to a psychic and I believe in this stuff wholeheartedly, and you told me I'm going to die in a week, I'm probably going to be in jail by the next day because I'm going to be doing all the crap that I...
Oh, yeah, somebody's getting laid. Somebody's getting laid.
Whether they want to or not. No, just kidding. That's terrible.
Don't laugh at me. You're just going to encourage it.
But yeah, you don't tell somebody, "Oh yeah, you're going to die by this time." Like that's messed up. So now this girl, the reason why this girl was posting was because now it's been a week since her 31st birthday. Okay. So she made it through her 30s. So at this point, if you told me I'm going to die in my 30s and I'm 31 now, I'm going to be relieved, but I'm also going to be pissed off. I'm going to go back to that psychic and give me like, "Yo, what the fuck, man? Like, you told me I was going to die in my 30s and now I'm 31. I want a refund."
Yeah. It doesn't sound...
It's kind of a double-edged sword in a way.
It doesn't sound like the psych is really thinking far in the future, not setting up repeat customers. Right? Oh, you'll be dead next year. So, you're going to die at 98. Please keep coming, darling.
But her gripe wasn't about that. It was about the fact that she feels that she's been, since her birthday a week ago, she's been having a poltergeist or some kind of spiritual activity going on in her house. And she's attributing it to this psychic telling her that she was going to die at 30. I guess almost like what was that movie? The Final Destination type thing.
Right. Yeah.
Death is stalking her now. And it really, like, I must have sent this girl, not because she was hot, Not because she was super hot, but I must have sent her a bunch of comments saying, that's messed up. Like, how does somebody tell you that? Like, first off, I would go back to that psychic and be like, listen, you son of a bitch. I want a fucking refund because you made me crazy for a whole year thinking that I was going to die. And now I'm 31. And then I would turn around and I'd punch him in the face and be like, I bet you didn't see that coming, asshole. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, after I said this, she tries to justify it. Oh, well, maybe she meant figuratively speaking. No, she meant you were going to die at 30. She didn't mean figuratively, like, oh, yeah, well, your soul is going to change. Or that's just, come on now. You're being a little bit naive now with this whole thing. How are you going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, well, no, she was wrong. She was absolutely wrong.
Joe, I think you're missing a huge point here.
Go ahead.
A hot girl.
Right.
A hot girl who, by your own admission, is naive.
Yes.
A hot girl who, by your own admission, is naive and then makes justification for lies.
Okay. I think
Joe, get her number. Why are you wasting time talking to me?
Listen, I'm a married man. But yeah, no, I mean, this was, it really peeled my potatoes, man. This whole thing. What's the matter? You don't like my
peeled my potatoes. That's all right. That's awesome.
Like that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna use that like I wrote it.
So yeah, man, no, and it really got on my nerves, bro, because people that have listened to our show, if you haven't listened to our show yet, I'm kind of the believer one out of the two of us, but I'm very skeptical of psychics and mediums and stuff like that. Not you, Wendy Stanton Phillips. We love you.
Yes, we love you.
Thank you for still supporting us on Instagram and stuff.
If you were closer, you'd be married.
You're awesome.
Totally.
But I just feel like there's so many psychics out there, pretend psychics, that are taking advantage of people. And it really gets on my nerves, man. And like, to tell somebody that they're going to die, like, that's like the ultimate thing. Like, you don't say that to somebody. And then for this person to really believe it and then to justify it after, oh, well, maybe, no, they didn't mean that. Because the thing with psychics, and obviously we've talked about cold reading, and if you don't know anything about it, please look it up, cold reading, because that's a lot of what these fake psychics use. And honestly, us as correction officers kind of know, we kind of do it on a daily basis. And so do like interrogation people. They know how to pull information out of people to get them to tell the truth or to get them to talk. And that's what a lot of these psychics do. And it's horrible, especially in this case. You're telling somebody that they're going to die. And the thing is, you could tell somebody, oh, you're going to have a big change in your life. Well, Tom, you just got a haircut. That's kind of a big change. So you could attribute that and say, oh, well, that's what the psychic was talking about because I cut my hair, or I got a colonoscopy the other day. So I'm all cleaned out now. So that must mean that
you did?
Well, not me, but
asking for a friend.
But that was a big change in my life because now I feel different. So you're going to have a horrible accident. And then next week I trip and I break my leg, or 2 months or 2 years from now, I trip and break my leg. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's what must have been what they were talking about.
Right.
That's what I've always been very weary about psychics and mediums and stuff as far as that goes. Now, my challenge, Tom, is I'd like to get people, if you're a psychic or a medium, or if you have any kind of ability, telekinesis or ESP, anything like that, I want you to make a believer out of me and Tom. So give us a call at 845-379-1331, or get in touch with us somehow on all of our social media, our Instagram, our Facebook and Twitter and all that. and let us know. Also, you could email me at joeghosthackspodcast@gmail.com. And we want to know if you could make us a believer. We want to have you as a Zoom guest, or possibly if you live close to us, maybe a live guest. And we want you to make us a believer. Yeah. So yeah, because I'm very interested, and I know that there's good people out there that have good intentions that are doing this, like our friend Wendy Stanton Phillips. And there's also, I feel that there are real psychics out there, but I feel like those are the people that, for example, my dad is very into public access television, and they had a medium on there at one time, and he was just doing the camera or whatever. And then at the end of the show, this medium comes over to him just out of nowhere, didn't know my dad for anything, and said, listen, I know this and that about you, and this happened and that happened. And so I believe those people are the real deal. The ones that aren't really taking any money from people, genuinely just want to help somebody by giving them some information or closure on certain things.
Joe, we said it before. Somebody like Wendy is looking to help people. She's not walking around trying to make money on it. All right. She's running a day job and does this after work.
Right.
It's the people that I got a problem with, the people that have the storefront on the Atlantic City boardwalk.
Right.
That's the type of people that this young lady you were talking with online went to. Definitely. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Without a doubt. And yeah, so I mean, that was my rant. And that's kind of a big rant for me, because I've always had that. And this post got to me. And this was definitely right up my alley as far as a rant, because it really does piss me off. Peel my potatoes. So yeah, rant ended.
Hashtag Ghost Joe don't rant. That's my gig.
So what do you got going on, Tom? What do you got?
I've been sitting on a couple of news reports that I found interesting for a while. And then today I actually setting up a little bit of an interview with somebody to walk us through one of the news reports. So I've only got one right now.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it. I saw it in the New York Post, but it's an AP release from February 18th. The first clone of a U.S. endangered species, a black-footed ferret, was announced. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, scientists have cloned the first U.S. endangered species, duplicated from the genes of an animal that died over 30 years ago.
Wow.
Now,
Jurassic Park, here we come.
Yeah. Before I read the rest of the article, it was cloned by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And I'd like to ask the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, do you want dinosaurs? This is how we get dinosaurs. What is wrong with you people?
No, it's copyright infringement. Sorry.
There's like 8 movies of this not working. All right. Well, the article goes on.
But wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you, man. But I thought they did this? They cloned a sheep years ago, right? But that sheep was still alive, I believe.
Dolly the sheep, I remember that. But this was a endangered species.
Wow.
Yeah, and they had the genes from the original animal been on ice, I guess, for 30 years. So, let's see. The article goes on. The slinky predator named Elizabeth Ann was born December 10th and announced the week before February 18th. Wow. It's cute as a button, but watch out. Unlike the domestic ferret foster mom who carried her into the world, she's wild at heart. Wow. You might have been handling a black-footed ferret kit, and then they try to take your finger off the next day. The black-footed ferret recovery coordinator, Pete Gobler, said Thursday. She's holding her own. Elizabeth was born and is being raised at a Fish and Wildlife Service black-footed ferret breeding facility in Fort Collins, Colorado. She's a genetic copy of a ferret named Willa, who died in 1988 and whose remains were frozen in the early days of DNA technology. So these,
That's amazing, man.
yeah,
That's
it is amazing. But when the zombie apocalypse starts out of Colorado, we know exactly where it came from.
but then they'll just make a couple T-Rexes and take care of the issue.
Yeah. What are they thinking?
I would love to see a woolly mammoth, though. Honestly, I think a woolly mammoth would be sick. I think that they should clone and then make a big giant park of these things behind electrified fences, of course. That sounds like a
familiar.
Good idea.
Yeah, sounds a little familiar. Like 8 movies of it not working, Ghost Joe.
Life finds a way.
Finds a way.
Wow. No, that's honestly that's an awesome story, though. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. But they still, not to get into conspiracy theories and stuff, but at the same time, if they're able to do that, they have cures for things. They have cures for the common cold. They have cures for everything. They just don't want to put it out there because they're making too much money on the pharmaceuticals. Like, if they could clone something that was dead,
right?
There's so much more that they could do.
Listen, I don't want to sound like I'm seeing black helicopters, Joe, but you have a disease that starts in March 2020 and you have a vaccine in March 2021. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. When other vaccines have taken like decades to come out.
I mean, they've been working on AIDS since what, 1982?
Yeah. And only Magic Johnson was the only one that's been cured of that. So
yeah. So So that's why I find that whole thing fugazi. But I don't want our listeners to think seeing black helicopters. Just
no.
I give pause to some things.
Absolutely. And actually, it's funny, Tom, because this could actually somewhat tie into what I'm going to talk about next. How I just said how scientists have other ways of doing things and have more knowledge than we actually think that they do. If you're done with this, I can move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I go regularly on TikTok, not to see the hot girls dancing in less than nothing clothing. I don't know anything about that stuff, but mainly to promote our show and to see hot girls dancing next to nothing.
Ew, girls. Ew.
So I had seen this thing on there about a conspiracy theory. Now, I never heard this conspiracy theory, but I've heard terms associated with it. Now, the conspiracy theory goes like this. Now, if you remember, Tom, back in 2012, they had said that the world was going to end due to the Mayan calendar ending. Do you remember this? Do you remember it at all? I believe it was something like May 21st, 2012 or something. The Mayan calendar ended and they said, oh, the world's supposed to end then.
Yeah.
Right? And here we are, right? Almost 10 years later. But now this conspiracy theory goes that people are saying that the world actually did end. And scientists had knew that this was going to happen and that they were able to do something about it and to put us into some other kind of alternate dimension or alternate reality.
Alternate reality, and this is the best they could fucking come up with? Come on, get the fuck out of here with that. That makes us still believe that we're still going on with life, but that it actually did end. Mm-hmm.
But that they somehow found a way to. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, and part of this conspiracy theory, attributes to this thing called the Mandela Effect. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I found this actually quite fascinating. Okay. So the Mandela Effect is, let me see if I get a good definition of it. Okay, so the Mandela Effect occurs when a large group of people believe an event had occurred, but it has not. And Now give some examples in a second. So basically, the reason why it's called the Mandela Effect was because many people remember, now I'm talking many people, meaning thousands to millions of people, remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, but he actually died in 2013.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
That he died in the 80s?
Yeah, that's silly. I remember him getting out of prison was a big deal.
Right. So this is called like a collective false memory. Right. And actually, if you look it up on like medical things, there's actually a medical thing attributed to it as well. But it affects like millions of people, and millions of people remember things a certain way. Now, some of the examples that I'm going to tell you, I remember it the way that they're saying, and some of them I kind of remember it being the way it is now. But what they're saying as far as this goes is that somehow when these scientists had made this alternate reality, they fucked up a little bit and got a few details wrong. And that's why we're getting this Mandela effect where we remember things a certain way from years ago and that they aren't, or that memory was kind of erased in a way.
Right.
So yeah, I found this actually quite fascinating because there are certain things where you're like looking at it like, holy crap, they're right. For example, Tom, do you remember the Monopoly guy?
Yeah, Mr. Monopoly. Yeah.
Can you describe him for me? Can you describe the Monopoly guy?
The guy with the top hat, right?
Yeah. Well, what else does he have? Top hat,
mustache. I think he was bald, where he had the male pattern baldness kind of thing.
Okay. You remember anything else about the guy?
I want to say black tux and like a white or red shirt. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Did he have anything on his face?
It was a mustache, right?
Well, most people remember him as having a monocle, that little glass thing that.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay, so a lot of people, that's one of them. A lot of people remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle, and he actually never had one. And that's like one of those mass memories, that false memories that people are thinking of. Another one, a lot of these are attributed to products and advertising, coincidentally.
Yeah.
But for example, Curious George. A lot of people now, I was never really into Curious George, whatever, but a lot of people remember Curious George with a tail, but Curious George never had a tail.
Are you sure? I could have sworn he had a tail.
See? Looney Tunes, one of my favorite shows of all times. Okay. I loved it growing up. Those, like, I watched that more than anything. Okay. Most people remember Looney Tunes as spelled Looney, Lonney, Toons, tunes, right? Like cartoon.
No, I think it was Tunes, right?
Okay. See, so you remember it the right way. So yeah, so that's actually the way they're saying it was Tunes.
Okay.
But most people remember it as tunes, like cartoon. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Fruit Loops. Most people remember it as Fruit, loops, but it's actually Froot, Fruit Loops.
Wow.
What else we got here? Kit Kat. A lot of people remember the Kit Kat as having a hyphen in between kit and cat, but it never had the hyphen.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Got me on that one too.
All right, let's see. The Mona Lisa, a lot of people remember her smile being a little bit more pronounced. Now, we always knew that she kind of had a little smirk, but that her smile was a little bit more pronounced, but it wasn't. It was more of like a stop looking at me, you sick son of a bitch kind of face. Oh, here's one that I was never a huge Star Wars fan. Please don't hate me.
Seriously, I don't even understand those words.
But a lot of people remember C3PO all gold, right? But C3PO actually had one metallic looking foot and shin.
Right.
A lot of people don't remember that. Let's see. Oh, another Star Wars reference. What's the famous line from Star Wars that Darth Vader says?
See, I'm a Star Wars geek, so I'm going to give you the right answer.
Well, give me the one that everybody thinks.
The one that everybody thinks is Luke, I am your father.
But he never said.
He never said that.
He never said Luke, right?
Right.
He just said, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
So, but a lot of people, and you could go on any kind of skit, SNL, all these places, they always say, Luke, I am your father.
Right.
Never actually said, Luke, I am your father. It was always just, I am your father.
Well, now, is that one the Mandela effect, or is that one just because it's bastardized over time? Like Shakespeare, alas, poor Yorick, everybody thinks it's I knew him well, but when they were holding up the skull, but it's alas poor Yorick, I knew him Horatio is the actual line. I'm seeing the look on your face.
I've never
know your audience, Tom. Know your audience.
That's right. So I'm gonna go back to Snow White. So Snow White, everybody remembers the wicked witch or the evil witch saying, mirror, mirror on the wall. She never said mirror, mirror on the wall. She said magic mirror on the wall.
Really?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So all these funny things like, oh, here's another one from a movie. Other than the fava beans comment, what is one of the things that the guy says from Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter? What does he say when he greets Clarice?
Hello, Clarice.
He never said that.
No?
He said good morning. He never said hello, Clarice, in the entire movie. But
no way.
But people remember this stuff. And that's where they're going with this. That's what the Mandela effect is. Now, this is one that I've always known, right? But like, for example, Queen, the band Queen, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah,
Mercury, arguably the greatest singer of all times.
I don't think you can argue it. I mean,
right. I mean, they're amazing. I mean, everything that they've done. So a lot of people remember. Now, this is the one I don't remember. A lot of people remember at the end of We Are the Champions, him saying at the end, it goes, we are the champions of the world. A lot of people remember him saying of the world, but he never actually says of the world.
I think that was that live? Like he would hold the mic out?
Correct. He does that live.
Okay. But not in the studio recording.
Yeah. Now, how about this? Do you remember this terrible movie where Sinbad played a genie?
This one I know never happened.
It never happened. It was actually Shaquille O'Neal.
That's right.
A lot of people remember Sinbad as playing the genie. Oh, here's one. And I got this one on my dad yesterday. Who's the guy that says only you can prevent forest fires?
Smokey the Bear.
He's not Smokey the Bear. He's Smokey Bear. He was never Smokey the Bear.
Oh, okay.
Smokey Bear. So these are all these little things that people remember, and that's what they're saying the Mandela effect is about. All these, and millions of people remember it the ways that we remember most of these things, and it just wasn't that way. Now, in a way, though, with the Monopoly guy, I remember him with the monocle, and then I remember them updating the front of the Monopoly game because I remember like looking at it and saying, oh, they made him look a little more cartoony, a little funnier. So, and I think that's where they lost the monocle. So if anybody has the original Monopoly game from many years ago and he has a monocle on the box, take a picture and send it to our Instagram. Or take a picture and send it to us because I want to know. I want to see, because I do remember him with the monocle. And then I remember specifically, these are the things I don't remember what I did last week, but I remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle and them changing the box. But let us know if you, and honestly, if you have any pictures of any of these things from back in the day, let us know. Because I'm definitely, for me, this is very interesting that people could have a collective false memory.
Man, I totally thought you were going to go somewhere else with if you have any pictures.
Well, that too. Yeah. So that's my little thing on the Mandela effect, man. I thought it was quite an interesting story. I definitely want to talk about that. Yeah. So that's it for me. You have anything else to share with the group?
Did you bring enough to share with the class? We had, I won't say his name because we're working on getting him as a future guest, but we had a paranormal investigator contact us, and he I think I told you about this. He dropped the name of Zach Bagels as he's worked with him. And I said, listen, bro, I appreciate you contacting us, but you've never listened to our podcast, have you? And my hand to God, this guy was so honest. He goes, "Nah, you're right. I never have.
Right.
I'm just branching out. I'm trying to meet as many people as possible, maybe get some interviews." I told him, listen, we're very critical of that young man. He goes, "Well, you know what? I got no love for the guy, but everybody else seems to. So since I worked with him, I drop his name anytime I can."
I mean, wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah. So, but
we
right
were
away,
ghost hunters, we would do the same thing.
Right away, because we got burned before. We talked about it last episode, so we're a little gun shy. But right away, this guy is just brutal honesty. I liked him immediately.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll definitely have him on. We're working on getting some more guests for you guys. So if you think that you would have something to share as far as being a guest on our show, please call us at 845-379-1331 or email me. Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
No. And we have some voicemails. We have some voicemails in the can, right? I mean, we're going to be using in the upcoming shows.
Definitely. We have a few. And so if you have an experience that you want to share, definitely leave us a voicemail. You could do it anonymously, as we have one of them that was anonymous. Give us a call, 845-379-1331. And the time limit is unfortunately only 3 minutes, but if you run out of time, call back and resume your call, and we'll edit it together and stuff for you. But if you are an author, or if you paranormal investigator or ufologist or anything like that you feel that you have something to add to our show, and also my little challenge there, psychic, telepathy, anything like that, you want to prove us wrong a little bit, definitely get in touch with us, because we want to know. We promise we won't burn you on the air.
No, definitely not.
Not on the air.
Definitely not.
Nope. Definitely not on the air. No. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from everybody. So give us, if you have any cool pictures that you want to share with us, and we'll put it on our website, www.ghosthackspodcast.com. There you can find information on all of our guests, as far as a blog and our social media stuff and everything like that. You can find us on our website, as well as our Instagram and everything else too. So
also on our website, the merch category, we're not making a penny on that. Everything on the merch that we sell is going to charity. So our gear, know that it's going to a good cause.
Definitely.
What's the name of the charity? The full name again, Joe?
First Responders Children's Foundation.
Thank you. I always forget the foundation part.
Yeah. From time to time, we'll change the charity as well, just to give some love to some other charities that we feel strongly about. Yeah, guys. So that's our little mixed bag show. I hope.
All right. Yeah. Mixed bag number 2, I guess. Yeah.
Or 3 or 4, whatever.
Whatever it was.
But like I said, we'll definitely have some interviews coming up with some interesting people. And sorry for the little lapse in time, but as we said, sometimes life gets in the way of some good stuff. So, all right, guys. So on that, have a good night.
See ya.
Don't forget to change your shorts. No, good night, everybody. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Ghost Hacks Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and find us on Facebook groups. If you have any paranormal experiences you would like to share, please email joeghosthacks@gmail.com, and we may even read your submission on the air. Have a good night, and don't forget to change your shorts.